Do you need full coverage foundation that lasts all day but also doesn't look cakey or overdone? Well, you're at the right place because I'm going to share all of the full coverage foundations that I have tried and tested, and they work so well, but they don't look cakey and they actually still look like skin. Hey guys, I'm Nina and I'm a celebrity makeup artist, and I've been doing this for roughly, I would say nearly 25 years. So I have a lot of industry expertise and I kind of know what I'm talking about. Today's video is for anyone who loves that full coverage finish but not look. So this is where you really want something that's going to cover up whatever you're trying to cover up, because usually it's pretty difficult, but you also don't want it to look really heavy and cakey like you've got a thick layer or a mask on your face. I've picked some foundations that are full coverage, so definitely tick the boxes when it comes to like covering anything you're looking to cover, but it doesn't sacrifice that natural kind of finish that you want. I think this is where a lot of people get confused, because you kind of think full coverage is always going to give you a cakey finish, and I get why, because it's full coverage, so it kind of like just sounds like it's going to mask everything, but that isn't actually what we want. And it's so difficult to find foundations that are great coverage, not too sheer or transparent that you end up seeing all of the hyperpigmentation or melasma, like whatever it is that you're trying to cover, or acne scarring, like any kind of blemishes that you're trying to cover. You don't want to see all those coming through still. And sometimes I have used foundations which claim to be really good coverage, but then once you've applied it, it almost like in front of your eyes starts to like become more and more sheer, like very quickly. And you're kind of like, how am I seeing the darkness coming through now? It's really strange, but I get you. And therefore, I've got you. You don't want to sacrifice the radiant natural finish, and that's why these foundations are on the list. These foundations have been tested through humidity, long days when I've been out and about at events, and they haven't gone anywhere, and they've given me that flawless finish to my skin without looking heavy. First up is the Hourglass Vanish Seamless Foundation. I would say this one has some serious coverage. Like a little goes a really long way with this, and I realized that when I first applied it, because I did go a little bit heavy-handed with it, and at that point I was just like, oh no, this is like a full coverage foundation, but it's also really heavy. And then the second time I used it, where I really cut back on the amount that I was putting on, that's when I realized that was my own fault, because I was just applying way too much of it. The formula is an ultra concentrated liquid, so it's kind of quite fluid, I would say, not overly fluid, but the pigment is just so much, like you're really going to get that really good coverage that you need. What I love is it's oil-free, waterproof, and transfer resistant, but I always say that when foundations claim to do these things, always take it with a little bit of a pinch of salt, because ultimately it really depends on what your version of being transfer proof is. Like, you know, if you're looking for a quick brush here and there, and it's, you know, you're worried about it going onto clothes and stuff, like I still feel like you're always going to get foundation on your clothes if you like touch a white t-shirt with your face. So just bear that in mind. I just want to keep it real with you, but this foundation is generally pretty good when it comes to being transfer proof. I have been out and about in the heat with all of these foundations, and I've also been sweating. Usually me, when I sweat, it's usually around this area here, or brows. It really depends on the day. Like, I don't know why, sometimes it's either brows or my hairline, but it can still be really annoying no matter where it is. It generally doesn't kind of go anywhere, the foundation. I feel like it kind of stays put. I mean, the fact that it's oil-free is really great, because I do love the fact that it's just not going to clog any pores or anything like that. So considering it's a full coverage foundation, I feel like a lot of the time we assume it's going to have everything in it that we don't want in it, or isn't necessarily going to be good for our skin. But I like the fact that it's oil-free. It's designed to be used with, like, basically use a very small amount of it. You don't need a lot of it, because that will give you maximum payoff. So how does it look on? I would say it looks quite smooth. I feel like it gives you this really nice kind of like velvety finish to the skin, but I do feel like that can change depending on how you prep your skin underneath. If you go like for a mattifying primer, then you're going to get a really nice velvet finish. If you're going to go for something which is quite a hydrating primer, or something like, I don't know, Milk Hydro Grip, then I feel like you're going to just get a really nice smooth finish with a subtle radiance to it, but it's not going to be like shiny, you know, or overly matte. Even though it is full coverage, you're still going to get that really natural finish, but that's based on how much you apply. You go heavy-handed with any full coverage foundation, you're obviously going to look cakey. So just tone it down a bit with your application. It's great for normal skin, great for combination skin and oily skin because obviously it's oil-free. So it's definitely something that works well on anyone with problem skin. I do feel like if you have dry skin or mature skin, it can cling to dryness only if you haven't prepped like properly. So if you prep well underneath, I don't think you're going to have a struggle with this. Now, my personal preference with applying this is with a kind of medium dense brush. BK Beauty 106 brush is always a winner for me, and you get discount with my discount code, which is Nina 10. But I like kind of like putting it on the back of the hand, and most of these foundations I like to apply in the same way, but put it on the back of the hand, get the brush and really swirl it in there, and then put it onto the face. So you're really buffing it into the brush first, but not a lot, just a very small amount. I actually like this little trick that I'm about to tell you. So apply your skin prep, apply your primer, and then just after your primer, apply like a hydrating spray, like something like the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray, and then wait a few, like just a few seconds is fine, and then go in with your foundation. And because you're using a full coverage foundation, this is a really good way to just keep it looking like skin. So it's just making sure you've definitely got that prep right. I would say one pump is more than enough. You don't really need to go any more than that. If anything, you could go less. If you want to use a sponge, I would always recommend using a damp sponge because that's going to help you to blend it in well. But ultimately, I really prefer the brush that I was talking about. When it comes to setting this foundation, I would honestly use a really finely milled powder. If anything, I think that the Hourglass Veil translucent powder is going to be a good option, but never press it in. With any of these full coverage foundations, I would only ever press the powder in on the under eye area, and even that really depends on what your skin type is like. So I would suggest just dusting on a light dusting of powder on top of any of these foundations. If you feel when you first apply your full coverage foundation and you've set it and it still looks a little bit too done for you, then just to give it more of a lived in look, just spray it with setting spray or like a hydrating spray. That's going to just let it melt into the skin a little bit better. But if you feel like, okay, it's looking a bit too shiny to me, just get a tissue after and blot your face, and you'll realize that actually helps to just press it and let it sink into the skin. The next one isn't technically a foundation, but it is an amazing option for a foundation. It is the Too Faced Born This Way multi-use concealer. It can actually be used as a foundation as well. It is such a good product if you want a full coverage finish that doesn't look heavy. Honestly, it's incredible. The formula is technically, obviously, like I mentioned, a concealer, but it isn't like overly thick and creamy. I would say it's kind of like cream to liquid. Yeah, I'd say that's about like the formula of it, but it's like 15 ml of like full coverage flawlessness. It's just so good. It's hydrating. It's really good for scent, like as in troubled skin, like if you have acne or anything like that. It's infused with hyaluronic acid, coconut water, a load of other stuff. So it's actually really good for your skin. It's not drying at all. It is not drying. So considering it's concealer, I know you would think, okay, this is going to be drying. It really isn't. It's creamy, but it's not greasy and it's not overly heavy. I think it actually looks more natural than you'd expect it to look, considering it is a concealer. It doesn't look heavy. It just kind of allows your skin to look like skin, but it does give you the coverage you need. I personally think it's amazing for textured or mature skin because it actually doesn't sit in your fine lines or wrinkles. It blends so beautifully and it doesn't go cakey. What more do you want from a foundation stroke concealer? Now, I think the best way to apply this is to kind of like either apply it on the back of your hand and use it like a traditional foundation, or you could just like dot it over the face and then get a brush or a sponge and do it that way. My personal preference is always on the back of the hand. I would say definitely prep your skin properly. Make sure your skin's really nicely hydrated, but you can buff it into the brush like I mentioned like before, and then buff it into your skin all over. I do feel like it's really easy to build on this because once you've got that thin layer on, anywhere that you feel like you need more, it's very easy to build on top. It doesn't go cakey. Set it as normal with a dusting of powder and you're good to go. I personally like to just set on the under eyes and the smile lines and a little bit just kind of like down the T-zone with this when I'm using this concealer as a foundation, because I feel like you don't actually need a lot of powder. So this is actually a great option if you have mature skin or slightly like on the drier side, because you're not really going to have to use powder in like on all of the face. I feel like you can just press it in with a brush very sparingly on the under eyes and the smile lines and wherever you feel that you need it, but you don't need to apply it all over. Very quickly, if you do like this video and you like the advice that you're getting, please do hit the like button and subscribe to this channel and hit the bell button, because those things really help my channel out and I really appreciate it from you. Now the next one is an absolute classic, the Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place Foundation. It's a classic and it delivers. It's oil-free, transfer resistant, and it's waterproof. And I feel like out of all of them, this is really, really kind of like a double tick in the box of being transfer resistant. It would probably be the best one out of all of them when it comes to being transfer resistant. High pigment, full coverage, isn't going to go anywhere. No flashback, but I would say that when you prep your skin, prep it like really hydrate it, because this sets really well on your skin, like on its own, even without powder. So I feel like you do want to get that extra hydration in. This is extremely long wearing, like it literally lasts all day and more. So I would say if you have dry skin, keep a hydrating spray in your bag, not because I feel like it goes drier through the day, but just because I feel like it's a really good way to just allow it to just like almost loosen it up a bit on your skin, just in case you have dry skin. I feel like the finish of this is matte, but it's definitely not flat. So you're not going to get that flat look from it. Plus it doesn't enhance your texture. It actually helps to smooth it out a bit better. And I think the finish is very polished. Like I want you to think like red carpet, but not heavy. I would say use a brush if you want a heavy, like I don't want to say heavier, but more full coverage. Like if you want more of a full coverage finish, then go with a brush and buff it into the skin. If you want more of a lighter finish, use a damp sponge on the back of your hand with the foundation and then buff it into the skin everywhere, and that's going to give you a really light finish to the skin. But I would say if you find it heavy, which I personally don't, to be honest, so I don't think you are, I just think it has a stigma attached to it because of the fact it's double wear. But if you do feel that, then you can always mix in just a little bit of kind of like almost like a rich cream into it, and that's going to work really well too. It just dilutes it a little bit. I personally think you don't need much powder here. Again, powder setting wise, I would say it's the same for all of them, just a light dusting and you're good to go. Okay, this next one is absolutely amazing and I love it, and I was raving about it for so long. It's the Christian Louboutin Fluid Foundation. I can never say the bit, which is maybe, is it French? I'm not sure, but it's I'm definitely not going to be able to say that, but I'm sure it went up on the screen. It's a liquidy silk texture. I would say it's kind of medium thickness fluid, if that makes sense. Like it's not overly thick, but it's not runny. It's long wear, it's really comfortable on the skin, and it makes your skin look so radiant, not glowy, radiant, like this lit from within glow. And full coverage, but ultra lightweight. It doesn't feel heavy on your skin whatsoever. It looks very velvety on the skin. Like I said, a lit from within glow. There's something in here that just glistens. It's so good for your skin if you want something to make your skin look super healthy. Anyone, and I mean anyone that I recommended this to, has absolutely loved it, and they've gone out and bought several bottles. No joke. Like they love it. They've been addicted to it because it is so good on the skin. It blurs your imperfections as well. So I feel like as well as the coverage, you're going to get that really nice blurring effect. Doesn't look heavy or feel heavy on the skin whatsoever. Really good at lasting all day, and that radiance that you get from it stays all day. I've had so many compliments on my skin when I've worn this, and your skin looks absolutely amazing in pictures. I would say this is suitable for dry, normal, combination skin tones. I think you're good to go with this. I personally like using this for special events or like evening glam, just something with, I think just because it's an expensive foundation. I mean, I suppose compared to most foundations these days, it's not actually that expensive, but I guess it's the brand name. It just makes me want to use it for special occasions. I don't know. I would use a like medium fluffy brush for this. The BK Beauty 106 brush is going to be good for it, or you could use an even fluffier brush if you want. But I think put it on the back of your hand and then buff it into the brush and then buff it into your skin, and you're going to get a really nice finish. Or you could use a damp sponge and buff it into the skin, and you're going to get like this second skin finish, which gives you great coverage. So it really depends on what kind of finish you want with it. Personally, I feel like less is more with this. I never go more than one layer with this. I just don't need it. I personally don't set this a lot. I actually just dust powder on wherever I need it, mainly on the under eye area. But I feel like you don't need a lot to set this, and it just looks really good on your skin. By the way, if you do want honest reviews about beauty, you might want to head on over to my beauty community called the Beauty Breakfast Club. We have newsletters on there every other day. There's also a huge community over there now, like over, I think, nearly 6,000. It's pretty crazy. So you want to head on over there. And if you actually subscribe to it, it's free, but there is a paid version, but that literally costs the same as getting yourself one coffee a month. And you get access to the entire site. So all the newsletters that are kind of like hidden from other people. Plus you get to join the group chat, which is literally like, honestly, everyone is like on it in there. They're just like constantly messaging each other and people are meeting each other and it's just so cool. And I'm on there and I answer your questions too. It's great. Let's get back to talking about the foundations. Over the years, I have realized through my experience that full coverage doesn't mean it has to be heavy or look heavy on your skin. It's about choosing the right kind of formula and finish for your skin based on your skin type. So think about what your skin type is and think about what's gonna kind of look best on your type of skin type, on your skin type. You know, if you've got dry skin, you don't want to go ultra matte, you know, so think about the finish that you want as well that matches your skin type. And also understanding how to prep your skin is so important because you can always adjust the way a foundation ends up looking on your skin by adjusting your prep. So if the first time you've used it, you feel like it looked a little bit too matte on you, then you know you need more hydration next time. You know you need less powder, maybe set it with a setting spray alone because that's going to give you that radiant finish as well. So think about what you need to change when you use it the next time. I know you're absolutely going to love the next video, so I'm really excited about it. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments and I'll see you on the next video.